Joining me now is our friend California Congressman Ted Lieu, Vice Chair of the House Democratic Caucus and member of the Judiciary and Foreign Affairs Committees. Welcome back to the show. It's good to see you. So, Democrats' demands, they aren't radical, sir. There's no masked agents. That's what they want. They want judicial warrants. They want stronger training, real oversight. And polls show public approval of ICE and, in fact, President Trump's immigration agenda has plummeted. So will Democrats hold the line with not another dime for Trump's immigration crackdown, and I say that in quotes because it has been said many times, until conditions are met?
Thank you, Alex, for your question. You're absolutely right. And let me start by saying that ICE agents and Border Patrol agents are not real police officers. And that's because real police officers don't wear masks. They wear body cameras. Real police officers don't engage in racial profiling. They use judicial warrants. And real police officers don't escalate, they de-escalate. So the demands by Democrats are very reasonable. And if ICE and Border Patrol agents want the respect of being real police officers and not be viewed as thugs and goons and drunk on power jerks, then they have to comply with the standards that real police officers across the country comply with. And that's all Democrats are asking for. And I believe we will hold strong.
Do any of your Republican colleagues, whether privately or publicly, though I haven't heard publicly, give you reason for why they oppose, let's just take the wearing of masks? Is there any real legitimate reason? Because they're implying that police, sheriffs, state law enforcement, who also face a number of criminal challenges all the time and the potential for retribution, what, that they're not important enough? Or what is it?
Alex, it actually doesn't matter what Republican lawmakers think. It simply matters if they have the courage to stand up to the White House. And right now, most of them simply do whatever the White House wants them to do. However, the American people have shown a lot. The people in Minnesota, across our communities, they have fought back against Donald Trump's ICE, and we have won. Trump has pulled out of Minnesota. You see the Department of Homeland Security backtracking on a number of issues. And so what we need is to have continual public pressure, and that's how we make sure that we get reforms to ICE and Border Patrol.
On Saturday, Attorney General Pam Bondi and her deputy Todd Blanche issued a letter saying that the DOJ fulfilled its obligation as laid out in the Epstein Files Transparency Act. The letter states no records were withheld or redacted in order to not embarrass or protect public figures. Perhaps most alarming, the letter contains a 3-page list of names mentioned in the files, and that includes yours, sir. And it does not differentiate between people just mentioned in news stories or conversations about Epstein versus those directly associated with Epstein. Does their, letter/report follow the law passed by Congress? Why is DOJ dumping a list of names without any context?
So this letter is a complete absurdity. So it mentions members of Congress who have called for the release of the Epstein files. During the Biden administration, I called for the release of the Epstein files. In addition, let me just give you a very simple fact. There's been over 1,000 victims of Epstein's pedophilia sex trafficking operation. As of today, Attorney General Pam Bondi has held exactly 0 men accountable. That is such a ludicrous number that it screams cover up. And that's what this memo screams. That's what her testimony in Congress screamed. And we're asking the Department of Justice to stop the cover up.
So when Bondi gave her combative testimony before Congress on Wednesday, you accused her of lying under oath over her claim that there is no evidence warranting an investigation into President Trump. Let's take a listen to that exchange.
I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency.
I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath.
So, Congressman, you then pulled up a document, and it contains unverified allegations about Trump, and it's from a witness who called the FBI. And look, we obviously do not want to re-air unverified claims, but explain why you believe Bondi may have perjured herself. And does Pam Bondi risk any kind of potential criminal exposure here?
Thank you, Alex. I encourage people to look at that exchange because before Pam Bondi answered that question, she paused for a very, very long time. And it's very telling that she not only didn't answer the question, but she had to pause for a very long time because she knows Trump is all over the Epstein files. And she did lie under oath. She said that there's no evidence Donald Trump committed a crime. That is false. There are multiple documents not only alleging that Donald Trump committed a crime, but that he committed very serious crimes. And guess what? This document I showed was an FBI intake form of a witness that alleged very serious crimes by Donald Trump. And you know why it is unverified? Because the Department of Justice never interviewed the witness. That is shocking. And I asked her to immediately interview this witness. So there's all these documents that just show the Department of Justice never investigated Donald Trump for any of these alleged crimes.
Last July, Bondi shut down investigations into uncharged third parties, and that includes former Prince Andrew, saying that she hadn't uncovered any evidence. But you argue that the evidentiary bar was plainly met from those disturbing photos of Andrew with one of Epstein's victims. Was Bondi's decision intended to protect powerful figures connected to Epstein?
Absolutely. I want the American people to know that Pam Bondi shut down the investigation into Epstein's sex trafficking operation last July. The July 2025 memo from the Department of Justice said that they uncovered no evidence that could predicate an investigation into third parties. And I showed her pictures of Prince Andrew lying over a person she acknowledged was a sex trafficking victim. Those photos by themselves are evidence to predicate an investigation. And there's also lots of other evidence against former Prince Andrew. For the life of me, I don't know why she's protecting this man.
Well, we just want to reiterate that some of these are unverified, but I know you are looking to get verification of all the things you have of concern on your mind. And so thank you very much, Ted Lewis, always for joining us.
She verified that Prince Andrew was over a sex trafficking victim under oath in Congress.
And on that point, 100%, you are correct. Thank you, sir.